song I Can Breathe started as a collection of riffs that then became an instrumental track. I had this collection of riffs that I had written over time, and I had time in the studio in November of 2023 down in Buenos Aires, Argentina, where I'm from, at the studio La Roca Power Studio. La Roca meaning the rock, and the rock meaning the center point that brings musicians together. Having time in the studio and having time in Buenos Aires, Argentina, as a result of being down there with Billy Gibbons, who had 2 shows to play in Buenos Aires, I then spent time in the studio putting all these riffs together in the order that I had in my mind into what became an instrumental track. Once I had that instrumental track recorded in the studio, I reached out to my dear friend Greg Gordon, who's an amazing engineer and mixing engineer, and I asked him if he could mix it so that I had a real instrumental track properly mixed that I could then share with other artists to see if they wanted to collaborate on the track. Once Greg put together that first mix, I immediately knew that we were onto something. I was very excited about the song. And to be honest, being in Nashville a couple of months later, I had one of our artist relations directors in my office, Jenny Marsh, and listening to the instrumental track, she immediately thought this would be a great project to run by Duff McKagan. And so that really is what started everything, because with the instrumental track, I reached out to Duff and I asked him, Duff, would you be willing to listen to a song and see if you like it? In which case we could collaborate on the songs. It would be amazing to have you on it as vocalist and lyric writer. And if you don't like it, I still love you. And Duff immediately said, please send it to me. He listened to the song and then he got back to me and said, I love the song and I'm inspired to write the lyrics and sing on it. And it was just about the time where Guns N' Roses was coming off tour, so Duff had some time. So he came up with the lyrics, and once he ran them by me with his initial direction on melody, we immediately set up time for Duff to track his vocals at the Sound Factory in LA. Once we had that, we sent all of that back to Greg Gordon, who mixed it, working with Duff and I on the structure of the song based on Duff's creative direction. And at that stage, it was very obvious who I was going to reach out next, given that it was Duff on vocals. I called Slash, and I had the same conversation with him. I said, Slash, would you be willing to listen to a song that I put together with Duff to do some solos on it? And if you don't like it, I still love you. He said, please send me the song. So he was just in around the time when he was going out on tour with the blues band to promote the release of the blues album that we did on Gibson Records. So I knew it was going to take a little bit of time before he could do anything, given his workload. But he very quickly came back to me and he said, I actually really do like the song. So if you give me some time, as soon as I get off tour, I will have time in my studio in LA and I'll be able to track some solos and see where we take it from there. So that's what happened. And when he got back to LA, he not only spent time cutting solos, he actually ended up doing an entire lead line on the entire song, which also changed the character of the song for good and tracked all the solos. And so I think that what started as a collection of riffs into an instrumental track really didn't become a song until Duff and Slash did their work and they put their creative touch on it. The rig that I used was a 1969 Les Paul Custom through a late 90s Revision G 2-channel dual rectifier at the La Roca Power Studio with really nothing else in front of it. I was just working with the two different channels, and so I was able to do sort of like a left side and the right side using the two channels of the rectifier, isolated with a cab in one of the ISO rooms, and really dimed on volume and about 3/4 of the way on gain. But that gave it a character where we have, if you pay really close attention, you have two different sounds going on the left and the right, which are the two different channels of the rectifier. And then there's some sections of clean guitars that I used the same amplifier and the same guitar. I just toned down the gain, and those sections of clean guitars have a little bit of delay and reverb on it. But that was really it. When I sent the track to Duff, initially I really didn't want to say anything. I just wanted him to hear it and see what kind of ideas would come up. He then started running ideas by me. And so it was a bit of a collaboration project in that way, but I was really trying not to interfere with his creative process. I mean, it's Duff McKagan. Who am I to give any direction to him? And he really nailed it. I mean, in no time he had the structure and melody of the vocals. He had the actual lyrics written, and it took him a single day at the Sound Factory in LA, and all the different vocal stems were done. I feel that I'm very blessed that I have the opportunity to work with my idols, and also get to know them as amazing human beings. And really that's what they are. They are amazing human beings that happen to be highly successful and recognized artists. But what I value the most, and now having gotten to know them, is that they're really wonderful people. Every one of these songs that I work on are done for a cause. And in this particular case, the cause is NAMI, which is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a topic that is very relevant today. And therefore what we did is we reached out to my dear friend, Serge Tankian, and asked if he would be willing to donate a piece of art for this cause. And that piece of art is what you're seeing is on this Les Paul. And that's the artwork that we're going to be auctioning off at the same time that we auction off this particular guitar. And all of the proceeds are going to go to NAMI. I want to thank everybody who was involved in making this song happen, starting with Duff and Slash, of course, but also Zeta, who played bass on the track, and J. Morelli, who played drums. Greg Gordon, who participated in the creative process with me and did an amazing job mixing this song. And working with me in the studio was Pablo Taubes and Francisco Trellini, both engineers who really were instrumental in the work that we did at La Roca in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I also want to give a shout out to my partner JR, who co-produced the song with me, and a very, very special thanks to both Gina and Lizardo, who I call the Lagarto. Thank you very much for making this song happen. It wouldn't have been done without all of you.